weird having my hair up this high. Is this how horses feel? Sweat, 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 sweat. So today I'm doing something a little bit different, and I will discuss that a little more in my actual review. Today I get to talk about a foreign film. I haven't talked about a foreign film in a while. What was the last? Was it Tommy? Yeah, outside my 31 Days of Halloween. I think the last foreign film I actually talked about and reviewed was Tommy Unlimited. Ugh. That brings back some bad memories. Ugh. Anyway, I'm not gonna dilly-dally with some chitty chat. Nope, getting straight into the review, so let's do this. Along with The Gods, The Two Worlds, and Along with The Gods, The Last 49 Days are 2017 and 2018 South Korean action fantasy drama films directed by Kim Hyang-hwa and written by Kim Hyang-hwa and Ju-Ho-min, based on the webtoon of the same name by Ju-Ho-min. The Two Worlds follows three guides who help navigate a firefighter through the afterlife after a heroic death, while The Last 49 Days sees one of the guardians helping guide a man through his trials in the afterlife, while his other two colleagues help a former guardian now residing on Earth. I have chosen to review both films together because they were both shot as one film but presented in two parts. The first film builds the world the movies are set in and introduces us to our characters, but the second film delves far more into the characters themselves. Think of it like the MCU, how each character's solo film leads to the culmination of an Avengers film, where bits and pieces from each film now finally come together and serve a greater purpose and make sense. The focal point for each of these films is the person they are guiding through the afterlife, but it's like a ripple effect. This triggers one event, which triggers another event, which triggers another event, which leads us to realize everything is connected and serves a greater purpose, and that the films are really about the guardians themselves, especially Gang-rim, played by Jung-woo. In this film, guardians are like grim reapers. They collect the souls of those whose time is up and take them to the afterlife. Once in the afterlife, they guide them through 7 trials in 7 hells over the course of 49 days. The hells are as follows. Hell of Murder judges if your past actions influence someone's death. Hell of Indolence judges if the noble life given to the subject was wasted. Hell of Deceit judges the lies one has told in one's life. Hell of Injustice judges refusal to help those in need, especially for selfish gains. Hell of Betrayal judges the cold-hearted who betrayed faith or trust. Hell of Violence judges any physical attacks on others. Hell of Filial Impiety judges dishonor or disrespect of one's parents, elders, and ancestors. As each person is guided through the afterlife, only the king of the afterlife, King Yeomra, played by Lee Jung-jae, knows in what order a person will go through their trials, as the order changes for each person due to the individual sins being judged from lightest to heaviest. The guardians act as lawyers for the defense, where they will plead the case of the recently deceased to assure a not guilty verdict in each trial. A person found not guilty in each trial are called paragons, people who have led pure, noble, and virtuous lives. Paragons who pass all 7 trials are granted reincarnation, which is the goal for almost all the characters in these films, including the Guardians. The Guardians have been doing their job for the past 1,000 years, knowing that if they can help 49 souls get reincarnated, they too will have earned the chance to be reincarnated. But that right there is the most significant plot of them all, as it opens the door to us learning who the Guardians are and how all of this comes to be. I think the entire concept is truly fascinating, along with exciting to watch. The film depicts such an intricate balance between the world of the living and the world of the dead, and it is interesting to see how every little thing you have done in your life is weighed up and can be used against you. During the first film, our firefighter's first trial begins in the Hell of Murder, which had him confused. But as it's also explained, this trial also takes into account anything that you have done in your life that indirectly resulted in someone's death, as everything is recorded, which led to one of the other Guardians saying what might be my favorite line of the film. So don't post mean comments online so hastily. Not only was that highly amusing, but comforting to think that all the trolls on the internet are going to be found guilty in several of these hells. Maybe there is justice just in the afterlife. Guardians are a fascinating group of characters, especially our main three. They each have very distinct personalities and have virtually nothing in common. So one wonders, how did these three get put together? Well, all that is answered in the second part, as it turns out they have much more in common with each other than they realize. Both films have two different tones. While the first film has more humor and softness, the second film has a sense of urgency, as it is a race against the clock. On top of that, there is still humor and softness, but it is less so than the first film, since this part focuses on more pressing issues and the very emotional and dark past of our characters. There is a strong theme of forgiveness in both films. Many of the characters seek out forgiveness or feel unworthy of it, and it seems to be the most powerful way to heal one's soul. Some characters wish to be forgiven and are forgiven, and others who can't bring themselves to ask for it because they do not feel they deserve it are given it anyway. But there are still two pairings that are yet to forgive each other. The films are fun and entertaining with heart at their core, which resulted in me crying like crazy during the last 20 odd minutes of each film. It showed that while they can make you laugh and be light, there is a real story, and it did get you invested in the characters, and when their stories, or any story in particular, is brought to a conclusion, it's very emotional, mainly because you've gone on this journey with them. The fantasy elements are strong and highly enjoyable. The creatures have designs I've not personally seen before. They don't feel reused or as though they were inspired by something else. Although a couple of creatures are things everyone would know, nevertheless the effects behind them were brilliant. I wouldn't say they were 100% blended in with the settings, but I've noticed that's just a common style in Asian cinema, and so it doesn't bother me, as I've just come to accept that's how things are done, and I'm rather okay with it. The effects are in no way terrible, and even if they may look a little unrealistic in one or two places, it works so well with the characters and story that you could almost see it as intentional, even though it's not. A few moments which depict the Guardians flying at hyperspeed or teleporting rapidly, the effects used for these moments reminded me so much of Neo in The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions. Add to that the costumes they're wearing in these scenes, they really could have been Neo's twins. The second film shows the true range of the actors' abilities. While during the first film they were solidly performing as fantasy characters, in the second part they must not only play their characters as who they are now, but also who they were 1,000 years ago, which is a very drastic difference. Attitude, behavior, even physicality are all entirely different, and it was beautiful to watch because it shows what brilliant actors they are. It also makes for exciting storytelling because it makes me ask myself, if I lost all memories of who I am and the life I've lived, how would that change me overall? The actors do a brilliant job, and knowing that 2 more sequels begin filming as of 2019, I can't wait to see them reprise their roles, hopefully. The overall story comes with many twists and turns, and they continue even after the credits begin to roll. We continue to learn that there are more layers to the story and the characters, and there are still more places the story intends to go. I would not say it ends on a cliffhanger. The mid-credit scenes are much like any mid-credit scene for the MCU. They reveal something about the current story the audience didn't know. Well, I suspected. And at the same time set up what is to come. Plot, tone, performances, effects, and story were terrific. I had so much fun with both of these films. I was not sure what I was going to get when I began watching these, but what I got was nearly 5 hours of pure, undeniable entertainment. A vast, intricate world has been created, and even the ugly parts are visually beautiful, and so I cannot wait for what we'll get in the next 2 films. I know, I did one of those things that I don't particularly like in reviews, which is a person who spends more of their time talking about what happened in the film instead of reviewing the film, but there was so much, and I'm talking about 2 films, and I loved so much of the story that I kind of really wanted to talk about it. I had nobody else to talk about it to. I didn't know anybody else who saw them, so you have to suffer. That's just how this works. But really, I did really a good amount of crying, and it's not easy to cry when you're reading subtitles, because you have to kind of quickly pause, get your tears out, dry your eyes, and then continue watching, and then repeat the process, because otherwise your eyes are going to be too blurry to read the subtitles. Unless, of course, you speak Korean, in which case you don't need subtitles at all and you're fine, but I don't speak Korean, except maybe the occasional word because I listen to K-pop, but that's irrelevant. So, like I said, I am really looking forward to the next 2 films which begin filming this year. I really hope at least one of them comes out later this year. That would be really nice. If not, I guess I have to wait till next year. But either way, keeping my eyes open for them. But that's all I have to say. Usual routine. If you have seen this, or if you've even seen the webtoon series that it's based on, then please comment down below, share your thoughts. I am intrigued to know. I just want to talk to somebody about it because I really, really liked it. Especially that line about anybody posting mean comments to people is going to hell. Loved it! So, I'm off, and until next time, bye.